Out of every kit Newcastle's worn, what's the favourite?
All of them.
At what point did you become a collector?
Oh God, where do I start? You probably need half an hour for this bit.
Hi, we are here today with the author of Black and White Stripes, Gavin Haigh, who has come all the way down from the frozen north, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about his collection of kits. Largely Newcastle kits, that's going to be the focus, obviously with a little bit of bias from Mr. Buglass in the middle there. Incredible book that Gavin's put together based on his own collection. If you are a Newcastle supporter, definitely worth getting. But also just to read the backstory to the kits Gavin's collected, it's totally worth getting your hands on this. So keep an eye out for Gavin on Twitter. You can find him at
Gavin Haigh.
There you go. And then you'll be able to get hold of this book.
Yeah, well, I think what's really interesting is, as a Newcastle fan, I've always loved kits and design kits and all that sort of stuff. And it's a one team that's eluded us, if you like, that came so close to actually design them, but turned down Adidas to actually go and work for Puma.
You did Sunderland, which was the same, just a slightly different colour.
I did a few Sunderland kits in my time, which we'll talk about that later maybe. But you know, what is brilliant about this community, right, is you meet people like Gavin. People who are absolutely geeking out on collecting products that they're so proud of, the history. I was like, my God, I've got to somehow get this kid to come and have some time with her. And it took a little while to convince you to get down, but we've managed to do it somehow. But I just can't wait to get stuck into it, because some of these kits I've never even seen before. They're just unbelievable. So my first question, out of every kit that Newcastle's worn, what's the favourite?
All of them. What's my most favourite one? My most favourite one actually is the 1983-84 home shirt that Keegan wore.
Right.
Because it relates to me as a 15-year-old kid when we got promoted 83-84 season. We think it was a marvellous season, but we only finished third. I probably didn't appreciate it as much back then, like the silver shirt then, but now looking back, I think it aesthetically it looks marvellous. Very slim with a little tiny blue star. The Nufk badge, as you've often quoted.
Yeah.
I just think it's wonderful. So
yeah, it was
I would say that one, it'd a push.
Yeah.
But
well, I think
I love them all, really.
The provenance of that, though, and the meaning to you is that's something that you ask anybody what's your favourite shirt of any particular team, especially one they support, and it very rarely comes down to design. It's usually there's a moment in time that's captured and attached to it. So the question I'd first like to ask you is, at what point did you become a collector? Was it a conscious decision, or was it just you'd bought shirts over time and found you'd got a collection? So
oh God, where do I start? You probably need half an hour for this bit. So my first match was October 76. The first time I got a shirt was June 1976. Just come back from holiday in Majorca with me wonderful mum, God rest her soul. And I obviously went on about I wanted a football shirt, but I loved football shirts back then. So I managed to get this Newcastle shirt, which was the one we had just before Buckter, just after we sold Supermac. Straight away, I loved the football shirt. Yeah. And what I remember in that year, we had a sports shop in Newcastle called Court Sports, and there was these shirts made by this company called Admiral. So all of a sudden, that year, I'd got the Man United white one with the stripes, the Wales one, the England one. So I was just mental on football shirts from day one.
Did you get the Dirty Leeds one as well?
I did. I even had the socks, which were like old socks. I always remember that. I had the full kit, and I remember we used to play on the field up the road. So I was just in love with football shirts straight away from 1976, and that carried on. I was collecting them every year. And I got the Nonce one that you featured recently, which I still have, on the front, and it's continued every year since. So I always collect replica shirts. But back in the 80s, I didn't ever thought you could get a shirt from a player. I used to write to footballers when I was at school for a photograph and a programme. I remember writing to Brian Clough, and he sent us a photograph back saying, be good. Never thought I'd ask them for a shirt. So I carried on with the replica shirts, hundreds, 500, 600, 700. So I carried it through because I never knew there was a match worn, because back then, how would you contact anybody?
Steve Hodge was one step ahead of you getting that Maradona shirt, wasn't he?
And then eventually in about 1991, I wrote to Newcastle United for help to say, how can I get a shirt from a player? And they weren't very helpful. And my mum again, I'm not having this, wrote to the chairman. Really? And he said, how can you not help a 21-year-old lad who goes home and away, so interested in his shirts? And he sent the commercial manager to my house and he invited us to the next game. And after the game, I got a shirt, which was one of the reserve shirts. And then a year later, I discovered by chance my uncle, who lived in America, had a shirt of Mickey Quinn. And my mum was going
What size was that
Well,
Double XL.
well, Mickey Quinn's actually very good. I sent him my book and he put it on Twitter.
Brilliant.
So he's supported. So my mum managed to blag the shirt off him. So I brought it home. So all of a sudden I've got 2 shirts now from the players.
Yeah.
But how do I manage to carry this collection on? This eBay thing came along in 2001.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was introduced to collectors and dealers, and I was able to get these match-worn shirts. Mm-hmm. So in answer to your question, I've always been into it.
Yeah.
since.
And was it specific designs that caught your eye, or what was it?
It was probably the aesthetic, Greg, to be honest with you, because Newcastle, I got them religiously because it was Newcastle.
Yeah.
But I was never quite enamoured with them. But if, when I look and say, why'd you get the Wales one? Well, clearly it was because of, you know what I mean, the travel line bits.
Yeah.
Why did I get the Leeds one? It was clearly because of the badge, the Man United. It was clearly aesthetically, the Adidas ones, the shininess. So it was always the design. So I was always fascinated by it, but never questioned why I was fascinated by it. I think it's always been a design thing in other teams, but with Newcastle, it's just, I have to have it, don't I?
Yeah,
exactly.
the passion of following you.
And as someone who's clearly an avid supporter, you told us you've missed 10 home games in
46 years.
46 years. Did you ever find it hard to say, oh, well, actually that Man United shirt's really nice, but it's Man United, I don't want it?
I think separated completely. I would never bought a Sunderland one, obviously.
Goes with it. I never had a nice one.
But I can remember having that Man United one when they had the three ones in '85 with the little things on there. I think when I got to that age, it was about foreign shirts then.
Yeah.
Then I started getting all the Maber shirts, I remember.
Where were you getting those from?
Always, holiday, always.
Wow. We only used to go to Aberystwyth on holidays.
But it was-
That's a draw me.
Got
mate.
sick of collecting Blythe Spartans.
But it's still carried on to this day. What's the best thing to buy him for Christmas? A football shirt. But I try to get more obscure as opposed to being the norm.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what's really interesting about the community as well, right? Because we've been exposed to kits and there's some absolute classics out there. So if you look at some of the kits nowadays, we've obviously got Casto and the World Cup kits that have just recently come out as well. What's your thought on some of that stuff?
From my point of view, it feels like the football shirt's completely evolved, you know what I mean? I'm still one of these, I like the old days when it was baggy shirts, extra large. They now look like people who should be on a
Love
bike.
Island.
On a bike, on Love Island, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
we saw them yesterday in the shirt, even Raheem Sterling wearing his Stone Island boots, if I give that a plug.
Yeah.
It's like completely evolved. It feels very, very polished now.
Yeah, well, we were talking a little bit about, back in the days, there was football kits that would be for the players, and then you could buy pretty much that kit. There was no difference between a player kit and a replica kit. And we were talking about 2002 when I designed the Brazil World Cup winning kit. So if you think of like the Kappa jerseys at that same event, it was perfect for the players. But you put it on people like you and
Well, I had that combat shirt. I had
yeah,
that for about 10 years, that
it
one.
just looks absolutely...
Body paint.
Yeah, it looks like,
I
Mr.
got
Blue or
extra
whatever.
large then.
Even the Kappa jerseys to this day, they still do that. They've got different fits. And I think you had some questions to kind of throw at us, because I think where we're always going to come from is the design perspective. We like the look and feel of product. But we were talking about the yellow shirt, which I just found, it's called the custard cream shirt as far as you're concerned, which I love because I love them biscuits as well. So it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, mate. We could literally talk all day about this. And the good news is we're definitely going to do a different part of this. So if you want to get a hold of Gavin's book, I would highly, highly recommend it. Rob's holding it here, my sexy assistant.
It's on Amazon, so it's easily found.
There we go, perfect. So like, subscribe, hit the little bell at the bottom as well, because we have got some corkers for you. Thanks very much for your support on the channel. Keep an eye out for the Patreon as well. Get involved in the community, live events, kit design competitions, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, Gavin.
Cheers. Take a quick picture with all these in, will you?
Yeah.
That's why we're all in.
Definitely. Well, you didn't have that one.
Then with that
I'm
shit.
just upset to my mates are Sunderland fans.
So
That's amazing that you're friends with both the Sunderland supporters.
I know.